Alright, so here's the start of the kimchi. Just took the cabbage and chopped it up. Some people like to leave the full leaves or chop them lengthwise. You can chop them however you want. This is the way I prefer it. It's more of a bite size. But anyway, you just chop it up however you want, throw it in a bowl, and cover it in salt. Now, obviously not a ton of salt, and it's mostly to taste. There are formulas out there because you don't want to do too much salt. I've just done this so many times. I cover the top of it with salt. About every 20 minutes or so, I'll mix that up. You can tell I've just put the salt on, so I haven't mixed it up yet. You definitely want to rinse your cabbage a couple times before you get to this point. And once you get to this point, you want to leave any water. See, what that salt's going to do is pull the water out of the cabbage. So you want to leave any water that you get in here. That makes a quote-unquote brine for this, and it helps it in the fermentation process. Alright, so this is what your cabbage will look like after it's set for a couple hours and you've continuously turned it every 20 minutes and squeezed it and flipped it over. This is what it looks like in about 2 hours. It's ready to go. Now, what I'm going to do, everybody does theirs different, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put all my vegetables in. I say vegetables. We have onion, we have bell pepper, we have cilantro, we have ginger, there's carrots in there, and radish. Now, I would prefer daikon radish with this. It's what I normally make it with, but unfortunately, my local grocery store didn't have daikon radish. You have to go to the international grocery store to get that. So we're just going to use regular red radish. I'm just going to combine all that in here with my cabbage. All right, so here's what it looks like after I've got it all mixed up. And I just want to take this time to say everybody makes kimchi different. So if you don't like something I put in here, don't put it in here. Most people don't put cilantro in here. A lot of people would have waited till they had the daikon radishes and used those. You know, a lot of people don't put bell pepper in there. You just put what you want in there. Make it your own. In my opinion, now of course I haven't made it exactly this way before, but in my opinion, my kimchi is better than any Korean restaurant I've been to. So, and another thing is most people would do is they would make a paste and they would cover the leaves in the paste. I don't do it that way. I put all my seasonings in here and mix it up. Okay, so already in here I have 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. Now, I'm fixing to add Korean pepper flakes, red pepper flakes, and the Korean hot pepper paste, which I'm going to butcher this, but I think it's called gochujang. And I'm sure I just butchered that and everybody's laughing at me, but oh well. I don't know how to pronounce it, I just know how to use it. Anyway, kimchi, I'm not going to really be giving out any hard measurements, as y'all can tell, because kimchi is different every single time you make it. In fact, every single time I've made it differently. You never have the same amount of cabbage, first off. Every time you grab a head of cabbage, it can vary as much as a pound or two. You know, when you were talking about Napa cabbage, which is the type of cabbage you use for kimchi. You know, the amount of the vegetables you put in there, it's different every time. So I'm not giving any hard measurements. I do it, you know, by the look of it. So I know I've got plenty of Napa cabbage in here right now. I feel like my vegetable to Napa cabbage ratio is spot on. And as far as these the red pepper paste and the red peppers, I'm just going to put them in there, you know, for sight by sight as well. So when I feel like there's enough in there, that's when I'm going to stop. Okay, so I'm starting out with 6 tablespoons of the hot pepper paste and 6 tablespoons of the hot pepper flakes. Alright, that's what that looks like mixed up. For me, that doesn't have near enough of the hot pepper paste in it, so I'm going to keep on. Okay, I haven't mixed all the chili flake in yet, but I added 6 more tablespoons of the Korean chili paste and 3 more tablespoons of the red pepper flakes. And this is where I'm going to stop. This looks perfect to me. I did want to point out they sell this Korean chili sauce in smaller bottles like this. This is 7.5 ounces. I feel like this would probably be perfect for 1 head of Napa cabbage. Now, with that being said, keep in mind, obviously, I like things spicy. So, if you don't like things so spicy, might want to back off of it a little bit. Alright, that's what it looks like all mixed up. Now all we got to do is put it in mason jars and put our fermentation lids on it. Now, the fermentation process, just like the taste of kimchi, is different for everybody. It just depends on how quote-unquote funky you like it. I like mine pretty funky. So I'm going to let it sit for at least 3 days before I even taste it. After that, once I get it right about where I like it, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. Now, you can put this in the refrigerator right off the bat, but it drastically slows down the fermentation process. So if you like your kimchi with any kind of funk to it the way it's supposed to be, you're going to need to leave it out in a fermentation vessel for at least a couple of days. So I generally will end up leaving mine out for about a week. Like I said, I like mine funky, so I'll generally leave mine out for about a week or so, and that's when I'll put it in the refrigerator. Now, once you put it in the refrigerator, this is a very small batch. This won't last long at all, especially with me. I love kimchi. But once you put it in the refrigerator, as long as you keep it cold, it will, I don't know if it'll ever go bad. I mean, I say that laughing, but also seriously, because in Korea, they actually will get together and do like 200 heads of cabbage at one time, and it lasts them all year. So they make a year's worth all at one time. And it, you know, if they have any left over, they keep it. They don't throw it out. It doesn't really go bad. The fermentation process, you'd have to look it up, but the bacteria in the fermentation process is good bacteria, and it keeps the bad bacteria out, long story short. So now you will lose probiotics and taste over time eventually, but I've had some for, I think I've probably had some in there for a year, when I made a whole bunch at one time, and it was still good. Flavor, and I didn't measure probiotics, of course, but it seemed very close to, like 2 or 3 month old kimchi. So anyway, we're going to get this bottled up, and we'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so here's what my kimchi looks like bottled up. It made 2.5 quarts, and that might last me a month. I'm using these fermentation lids, Nourished Essentials. I love these fermentation lids. I've used them quite a few times for fermentation. They work great. You don't have to worry about really anything. It doesn't let any air in, but if it gets too much gas in there, which it will, that's how fermentation works, then it'll let it bleed out here. So it's a great product, and that's what I use for my fermentation. But anyway, there's the kimchi done. I will try and make a follow-up video of when this is done with the fermentation process and what it tastes like. So if you will, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Okay, I just wanted to note, you see how I have this in a plastic, and all this is the top to one of those full containers. but it's plastic. And the reason why I have them all sitting in here is because sometimes when your fermentation process gets really, really going, even out of these jars, you'll get some fluid, some liquids coming out. So don't stick these on top of your cabinet and forget about them, because it's very possible that you might get some overflow. If you put a towel underneath them will work, or I like to put them in something like this so that it doesn't, soak into a towel and then, it soak into my table or whatever it's sitting on. All right, so this kimchi's been sitting for 11 days, and to be honest, I haven't even tried it yet. Like I said in the video before, the longer it sits, the more funky it gets, but I like that. If you don't like it as funky, then you need to taste it every day. It's probably not a bad idea anyway. Taste it every day or every couple days, every few days, and once you get it where you like it, put it in the refrigerator and it slows it way down. It won't get near as funky, near as fast. So, been sitting 11 days. We're gonna try it. See if I can get some of the air out of there. So, there we go. All right. Now this is definitely the thickest and probably the hottest kimchi I'll have ever made. All right. Let's just get some and see what's... It's very good, but the spice is there for sure. It's just not funky enough for me. So I'm gonna let it keep going. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open every one of these up, and I'm gonna pack the stuff down in there and kind of move it around and get the juices mixed up in there so that they come back to the top, as you can see here, and that'll help release some of the air that's down the sides, and it'll stir it up and get it fermenting real good again. But that's going to be the end of the video. I'm not going to, there's no point in continuing to video it, and you just stop it to taste. So if this was at your taste level, then you can stop it now. But like I said, I want mine more funky, so I'm going to let mine keep going. All right, that's it for today. If y'all will, please like the video. Share it if you know anybody that would like it, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.